Good morning. I welcome you to the class of English Special Paper 4. In this lecture, we are going to discuss one more neoclassic critic named Alexander Pope. So, Alexander Pope was born in 1688 and died in 1744. So, Alexander Pope is a well-known poet and also a critic. So, in this lecture, we are going to discuss his thoughts on wit and nature, which are presented in his essay on criticism, which was published in 1711. So, the present essay or his thoughts on wit and nature has been tell us about the concept of wit and nature from the point of view of Alexander Pope. So his chief works are Essays on Criticism, Essays on Man, Imitation of Epistle to Dr. Horace and August, his letters, Preface to collection of Shakespeare's plays. So present essay on criticism lays stress on the poet as a critic. So essay is written in verse form. So this is important thing we have to keep in mind. The present essay is not in prose form, but on the contrary, it is written in verse form. It has three parts. In the essay, the Pope argues that the poet who judges and the poet whose work is judged are born with light from heaven. It means that Alexander Pope says that the person who is the poet and critic himself, and being a poet and being a critic, he is able to judge the literary work or literary piece that is being presented by the other poet. Both are heavenly. Both born with light from heaven, means there is a divine power in the person who is both a critic and a poet. We know that criticism is different process and composing literature is different process. But when the person who is a critic and who is also a poet, and if he is going to judge, if he is going to criticize or passing the judgment on literary work by the author, both of them are heavenly lighted. Then he says to be critic is not a chance. It means that critic cannot become by just an accident. It is not a mere coincidence. So critic is the person who, in order to be in the profession of criticism, there should be a severe practice. It should be cultivated throughout the life. So one cannot become a critic by chance. In order to become a critic, one has to undergo different type of things, like he should have aesthetic, he should have wide reading, he should know the literature of the past and present. So many things are there. So severe practice should be there in order to become a critic. So critic is, or business of criticism is not a thing that happens accidentally or it is like a chance. Then he also discusses, it is pity that some begins on wits, turn poets, and then being unsuccessful become critics. So the person, they become a critic when they are unable to compose the poems. So critic is not a sort of thing when you do not become successful as a poet, then you are going to become a critic. So poet here asserts that one cannot become a critic by chance. One has to develop himself to become a critic. So criticism or business of critic is different from other business. It needs consistent efforts, it needs practice, it requires severe practice. So one cannot become a critic just only for he becomes unsuccessful to compose a poem. In the essay he talks about wit and nature. So his advice is, Alexander Pope advises, we have to first follow the nature. So concept of nature is different for Alexander Pope. So concept of nature here Alexander Pope is superior reality. So nature is the superior form of reality, and he advises critic or poet to follow the nature, it means that there should be element of realism in their work, in their criticism. So nature is here in the universal sense. So he takes the nature in universal sense. So poet who becomes a critic, for they alone are proper judges. To imitate Homer So poet who becomes a critic, they are able to judge the literary work of the others. It means that only a critic is unable to criticize literary work. But if he is a poet and if he is a critic, it means that there should be a combination of writing and criticism. If two things are in a single person, himself is a writer and himself is a critic, then he can pass the judgment on literary piece, a literary work, in more appropriate manner than the others who are just mere critic. So here he says that to imitate Homer. So imitate Homer means, he says that Homer stands for realism. So you have to imitate the Homer means Homer is a synonym of realism or synonym for reality. So you cannot find out the realism, you cannot find out the truth in the literary work until you follow the nature. So nature stands for superior form of reality. He urges to follow nature. It means that we have to follow the classical rules. We have to follow the classics like Homer, Virgil, Horace, Aristotle, Plato. So following the classicism means we have to follow the literary work, we have to criticize the literary work from the point of view of realism. So for him nature is realism, for him nature is superior form of reality, for him nature is universal. Then in a essay he wrote, let Homer's works be your delight. Read them by day and reach them by night. It means that we have to concentrate on Homer. So Homer is a synonym for realism. We have to follow the rules of classical critics as far as the criticism of the literary piece or literary work or the poetry is concerned. So we are going to discuss what he thinks about, what are his opinions about wit and humor. So wit is ability of the writer to express truth and morality. It is not just intellectual ability or intelligent, but Alexander Pope says that it is the ability of the writer to express truth and morality. So wit is the combination of two things, that is the truth and morality. For him the concept of wit is truth and morality. Then he tells that wit is a reflection of reality. So wit reflects reality. As already mentioned, he advises us to follow the nature, he advises to imitate the Homer. So he asserts that we have to follow the realism in literary work. So wit is the combination of wit, truth and morality, it is a reflection of reality. Then he asserts that true wit is a common idea. He writes, our wit is but reflection or imitation. So whatever is there in as far as the wit is concerned, so it is nothing but reflection or imitation. Then true wit means justness of thought. The justness of thought, just means appropriate, right? So of thought. So true wit, concept of true wit is it is justness of thought. So he also says wit is like accessory to nature. As already told you, nature is the superior form of reality and wit is like an accessory to the nature. Then it is as important as nature. Wit is also important. It is like as a nature. Nature is a realism. It is a superior form of reality, and wit consists of truth and morality, and so it is as important as nature. So nature is reality. It is truth and morality. Both truth and morality are as important as the superior form of reality, that is nature. Then honest and objective expression of universal truth. So wit is honest, wit is objective expression of universal truth. We know the term subjective and objective. So objectivity means it is a neutral. So it is a neutral or it is objective expression of universal truth. Not only this, but he also talks that wit is a fire. Wit is a radiant spark. Then wit is like everlasting sea. It is equivalent to the vast energies of divine and graceful nature. So we have to understand what is wit, that is presented by Alexander Pope. So Alexander Pope asserts that wit is the truth and morality, wit is the reflection of reality, it is imitation of reality, wit is like radiant spark, wit is like everlasting sea, wit is like an accessory to the nature, and wit is as important as nature. Wit is a common idea. Then it is a universal expression of truth. Then he tells us about it is equivalent to the vast energies of divine and graceful nature. So these are the thoughts of Alexander Pope as far as the wit is concerned. Then he tells next, he added that in the wit, it exists in relationship among ideas, image and expression. So wit exists in ideas, image and expressions. Then we are going to talk about what are Alexander Pope's thoughts on nature. So he tells that as we know that he advises the critic or the poet to follow the nature, and nature is the superior form of reality. He says he advises us first to follow nature. So following nature means we have to follow the writers or critics of the classical age, because in their work, in their criticism, there is a reflection of reality, there is a reflection of realism. So following nature means we have to follow the classists like Homer, Horace, or Virgil, Aristotle, or Plato, because their works are full of their criticism is realistic. Realism exists in their criticism. So following nature means following truth, following reality. So he advises first to follow nature. Then he takes nature in the sense of universal. He describes nature as clean, bright and clear. So according to Alexander Pope, nature is clean, nature is bright and nature is clear. It means that reality is clear, reality is bright and reality is clean. So nature stands for reality. It is a superior form of reality. So nature is clear means reality is clear. It means reality is bright and reality is clean. Then nature is universally good and spiritually pure. So nature is universally good. Everywhere nature, realism is good, realism is acceptable, and it is pure form. It is spiritually, it is pure, it is not impure. Then following nature is only way to achieve writer's goal of writing. So writer's goal of writing, that is presented realism in their literary work or literary piece, cannot be achieved if the person or the writer does not follow the rules of nature, means realism. Then he tells that nature is a force that represents order, harmony and beauty of creation. So nature is a sort of force, nature is a sort of power which brings harmony, which brings or adds beauty of creation. Following nature means critics have to follow the rules of classics, as I already told you. So following nature stands for realism, and we have to follow, the Pope advises critic or the poet to follow the nature. It means we have to follow the classicist. Works of art provided by nature are not showy and pompous. So nature exists in true form, nature exists in pure form. So whatever is presented by nature they cannot be showy, they cannot be pompous, they cannot be just like a pomposity will be not be there. There should not be showiness. They will be pure form of realism. So nature is not visible, but its favorable effects are experienced. So one cannot see the nature. Realism cannot be sensed. Realism cannot be seen by the persons, but one can feel the experience of realism. One can understand the importance or effects of realism. We can feel it, but it is not visible. So nature is realism, and reality cannot be seen, but its favors, its effects can be experienced. So wit and criticism are in conflict. Morality and truth are in conflict. So we know that criticism means we have to find out what is good and what is bad. We have to find out imperfections and perfections. We know that it is not the business of critic to find out only the fault, but only truth and morality is not the business of critic. So that is how it is said that wit and criticism are in conflict, but they are always helpful. So here he uses or gives the example of husband and wife. According to him, wit and criticism are like husband and wife. Both are necessary to support each other, both are necessary to help each other, both are helpmate to each other. Beauty of work is both in the parts and in the whole. So a beauty of the literary piece or the poem exists both in parts and in the whole, not in parts alone. So beauty of literary piece cannot be experienced. The beauty of literary piece cannot be felt by the persons only by judging the parts of it. On the contrary, it is both parts and it is also in a whole. So beauty of literary piece exists in the wholeness of meaning. Then rules of ancients are deduced from nature. The rules of ancients means the classicists have been procured, have been taken from the nature. So nature is the superior form of reality, and the rules of ancients are not invented. They haven't invented the rules of criticism. On the contrary, they have taken from the essence of nature, that is realism. Nature is like a liberty. Rules framed by the ancient poets were the rules of nature and poetry. So whatever were the rules framed by the classicists, whatever the rules of criticism were laid by the classicists, are taken from the nature. Nature plays important role. Nature means realism. So their rules of criticism are based on realism. They had given much importance to reality, and we know that nature is a superior form of reality. So ancients like Homer, Virgil corrected the wildness of nature and brought it under the control. So ancient critics like Homer and Virgil, they have eliminated the unnecessary things which were not required in realism, that is in nature. And now whatever is before us, it is the correct form of reality, correct form of realism. The nature has been brought into the control. Nature is superior form of reality. Then false poets do not follow classical masters and their rules. The Pope says that those who are not good poets, those who are not true poets, those who are false poets, they are not going to follow the classicists. They are not going to follow the nature in their literary works. There will be lack of or absence of realism in literary work, and when there will be absence of realism in literary work, it means that they are false, they are not a true poet. So he gave the analogy of chemist and doctor. So chemist provides drugs on the basis of prescriptions provided by the doctor. So we have to keep in mind Alexander Pope's views on wit and nature. As far as wit is concerned, he talks about it as it is truth and morality, it is a reflection of a reality, it is a everlasting sea, it is a radiant spark, it is a common idea. Then he talks about it is like a fine fire. And as far nature is concerned, he talks that we have to follow the nature. He advises us to follow nature, means we have to follow the classist, and the nature stands for realism. So nature is universal and wit is like an accessory to nature.